everybody and welcome! I've got Robert home! Yay!
I'm so happy to be home. Playing music for people is a privilege, and the Japanese audiences were stunning, but I'm home with my wife.
You're home for Christmas.
Yippee!
So everyone, we hope you're home for Christmas too. This is a lovely time for us. We absolutely adore it. We've got fabulous burning questions. They've been pouring in and they're really fun. So let's start with John Anderson. Do you both only make a living from touring and not record sales?
Well, what would you say, sweetie?
It's a really great question, John Anderson. It's stunning. Now, I sell a lot of product. Robert sells a lot of product, but I, like most artists, am subject to pretty bad historic record deals. So since Cherry Red took over my back catalogue, my royalty income has gone up thousandfold, which just shows how bad the accounting was on my original label. Demon are very, very good for me, but I couldn't live off what they pay me, even though I'm a #1 artist. I do stocks and shares. I'm very good at investment and I'm really hands-on with investment. So I have ethical stocks and shares that I'm hands-on with virtually weekly, sometimes daily. And I have invested every penny I've earned in property. And now that I'm 63, I feel stable, but I always worry about income. Always. You've got to keep an eye on everything. Every bank transaction you have to keep an eye on. And 3 weeks ago, we did a huge bank transaction for the building of our offices and it just disappeared into the ether. I had to send Robert to the bank to stand there while I threatened the fraud squad. So we keep an eye on everything. How about you?
Well, conventionally, I've looked at current income and catalogue income. And current income pays the bills, catalogue income is available for investment at a certain point. Now, this relies upon the honesty of the accounting procedures of the companies, record companies and publishing companies sending you money. And here we move on to the subject of endless grief. From 1991 to 2012, approximately 21 years of my life dealing with income being paid or not.
You're in good company though, because virtually every artist in the world is in the same situation, including Kanye West.
There you go. So, I earn money from going out and working, and I need to, may I say, and I do have some income coming in from the catalogue. And now that DGM and Panegyric, our distributors, are both independent companies, the royalties have gone up because they are ethically paid and the accounting is accurate.
So in answer to your question, touring definitely pays the bills. I'm about to tour in February and March with the Posh Pop Band, but when we set this tour up, we set it up as an acoustic tour with 2 guitarists and just me. So I'm working on that budget with 3 extra people on board. So I'm not going to even break even in February and March. But Hazel O'Connor and I go out on the road together in June. That will be profitable, as will the Anthem Tour September, October, November of 2022. So yes, in answer to your question, but sometimes you let the income go so that you can develop and make something happen that you want to happen that can carry on into the future. And for me, that's the Posh Pop Band.
I'll add another detail here on live income, touring in a time of COVID. We had America in July through to September. And if any one of the entourage had developed COVID symptoms and we'd had to cancel a show, the King Crimson partnership between the musicians would have been bankrupted.
I know.
Because in order to set up the tour, we had to put out about $2 million to set it up. And if any of the income had been prejudiced, cancelled shows, we'd still be liable, and it would have bankrupted us.
I had COVID a month ago. I had to move 4 shows. I've had to pay all expenses and pay musicians. So I won't go into profit with live work until June. You know, that's what it is. COVID is doing this to people. There's people in far worse situations. I'm still doing Proud Cabaret. I can still do TV. There's income from other areas. But everyone is in this together, and everyone, I think, is supporting each other through this. But there's a really unpredictable element about COVID that even with what we know in the past 2 years, we still can't predict the life situation. But you have me. I'm continuing live work. You will change your live work pattern, but you're still doing live work patterns. Yes. We work. And yes, we need to earn a living, but we also emotionally, spiritually, and for our sanity need to work. So there's a question. Go on.
The John Anderson who asked this question, I believe, is not the John Anderson of Yes, wondering how we working players here, how we're...
I doubt that John Anderson of Yes would need to ask that question. Surely he lives in the higher atmosphere and echelon of rock stars, doesn't he?
Well, yes, John, I think, knows his way around the business.
Okay, so, I don't know who this question's from, but it is. Have you ever worn your hair like that on stage? And if not, why not?
Very simple. The answer is no. I have not spiked up my hawk on stage with Crimson for a very simple reason. I wear headphones. So I put the headphones like this and the spike would be compromised immediately.
I think we need to redesign your headphones because this is cool. My husband is so cool with his hairdresser.
I'm cool.
Vincent Black, have you ever collaborated with or performed with musicians that cannot read or write music? Many times, but were so amazed at at their craft that it didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well, Simon Darlow, who I've worked with on at least 4 albums, written exclusively 2 albums with him. He doesn't read and write, but he is the most instinctive, brilliant musician I know. His sense of the rock riff on the guitar, his sense of movement through the piano, and his sense of stitching parts together in a song and his relationship with harmonics is phenomenal. It's all instinctive. It's all in his ear.
Well, in terms of Crimson, Adrian Baloo and Jacko Jaksic, both singing guitarists or guitaring singers. Adrian, really, the musical vocabulary was not part of what Adrian did. What Adrian had, he had music in his body when he was learning very difficult parts. His singing voice going in one signature that way, his guitaring the other, he would put it in his body.
Yeah.
Jacko too. Jacko doesn't read or write music, but let's say it doesn't seem to have prejudiced his career. The general example given in terms of world-class guitarists that have changed the course is Wes Montgomery, who didn't read but would still do sessions. His ears were so sharp.
I had to do an album with Nigel Planer and the London Philharmonic quite a while ago of Cabaret, because I played Sally Bowles in Cabaret in the West End. And we sat down with the score. You don't get rehearsals with an orchestra like that, and you work by bar. And when we were just running through the sections and the dynamics of the sections, the conductor would say, bar 74. And I was going through the manuscript going, where's bar 74? And since I've learnt my lesson, I can familiarise with scores. I was supposed to do Peter and the Wolf with the Swan Orchestra in Stratford, but I got COVID. But I memorised that score. And funny enough, it was quite easy to take on board and the barring was marked. But with the London Philharmonic, I was looking at Nigel Planer and he was looking at me, and he is a stunning musician and singer from The Young Ones, very famous comedy show. And we were just going, where's that bar? Where is that bar? But we got through it. I think instinct and music are 2 things that partner so beautifully.
And now How about some magic fairy fingers of the week?
Yeah, and the first fairy fingers in quite a while, Mr. Fripp.
Yes, well, good. This is something I was practicing in Japan, and this is the first post of this fairy fingers. It's 2 5s and a 6 8. So we have a 3 and a 2 and a 3 and a 2 and a 3 and a 3. So we could be playing this in 4/4. It's a symmetrical scale. And I have a variation of that, which is
So good it made him cough. Happy Christmas, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for a return to form Sunday lunch. And we will see you next week, of course, because it'll be the Christmas event. We send you love, luck, health, happiness. Take care and stay safe, everybody.
and I have to say, bollocks!
Happy Christmas!